Hey guys, I'm waiting for a new video to process. Just finished editing it. It's going up as soon as it's done processing. And then in the meanwhile, I thought I would take a moment to do another book review because I'm actually way behind on book reviews. I've really dropped the ball here, so I apologize. And so I was thinking back, like, what have I read that I haven't talked about? And it's been a little while since I finished it, but I wanted to talk about Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. And I'll keep this, I think I can keep this fairly spoiler free, but if I get into that territory, I'll warn you beforehand. So Klara and the Sun is about, it's told from the perspective of an artificial friend. So it's in a near future where kids, especially elite children, I suppose. There's a lot of class distinctions in this book, which is kind of par for the course for Ishiguro. But children sometimes, often, I guess, buy these artificial friends to help them through their loneliness in their teenage years before they go off to college, because instead of going to school and interacting with other kids in what we currently think of as a normal fashion, they study at home on devices called oblongs. And so they have these humanoid robots that interact with them and act as their friends. And so Klara is the main character. We start with her in the store where a new version of her AF has been introduced, pushing her away, pushing her to the back of the store, basically. So we immediately kind of get this idea of obsolescence, we're immediately kind of concerned for her. Klara is distinguished from the other AFs. Like, each AF seems to have a different look and a different sort of personality, although all of them are, nice and servile. But Klara's distinguishing feature is that she's very observant, which is good for us, the reader, because much like, so I've previously read 2 other Ishiguro books. I first read Remains of the Day, and I was blown away by how much I loved it. And so I just grabbed the next one that I happened to see, which was Never Let Me Go. And I loved that too. I found it interesting because it was wildly different in setting to Never Let Me Go, but had many of the same themes and the same feel. I mention these because all of them give us an unreliable narrator and a world where we're not really sure what's going on, more so in Never Let Me Go. And it's reliant upon us to see the world through the eyes of the narrator in order to put together what is happening. And that's what I've really enjoyed about his previous novels, and we do get that here as well. What is this world? Why, for instance, is there, is the girl that Klara, the girl that purchases Klara as her artificial friend, Josie, why is she sick? Why is her mother full of guilt over that sickness? There are a lot of little mysteries to solve. And it's what I really like that about his books. And I also bring up the previous books because I think that Klara and the Sun, I really enjoyed it. But it was definitely, it felt like a marriage of those 2 previous books I read. I don't know if it's just, if this would hold up. I don't know how his other books would factor into this, but these are the books I happen to have read. And it seems like, Klara and the Sun is almost like halfway in between these other 2 books. So, Remains of the Day is about a butler who buttles, and is unquestioningly loyal and very concerned with how he can best serve his master, while maybe slowly coming to the realization that he's serving a fascist. And Never Let Me Go is, in a way, in a very real way, is a science fiction story about kids at a home at a school who we gradually learn are there for a very specific, very dystopian reason. And they are on a quest to find some meaning greater than themselves, basically. To, again, not give too much away. So here we have a science fiction tale of a servant who is, who has to come to terms with who she is serving, basically. She's a very different character, though, than in Remains of the Day, in that she's actually very honest about her observations and herself and where she sees herself in this world. That there are interesting differences. But I also feel that if you've never read any Ishiguro, I wouldn't necessarily start with this one. I think those other two books are better. In fact, I'd place them in the order that I read them. I enjoyed all of them, but Remains of the Day, that was a perfect book. Never Let Me Go was incredible. Klara and the Sun is very good. But those other books, I think, are a little more effective. But I did really enjoy learning about this world and exploring these themes of, obviously, like, what does it mean to be human or to be in this robot? How do we treat things that we see as lesser? How do we deal with AI taking over our jobs? What choices do we have to make in our current society? You're forced to reckon with the choices that the mother has had to make for her children, and maybe reflect upon how we currently have to make choices on risking the health and safety of ourselves or of our family members in order to give them a better life, in order to keep up. So I really enjoyed all these themes. I don't think I even need to get into spoilers for this review. I do recommend this book. I really enjoyed it. And also, very similar to Never Let Me Go, there is also this theme of the sort of invention of mythology and how we tell ourselves stories in order to find hope or in order to get through life. I think that is here too. So yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd recommend it, but I think that in general, it's not as perfect a book as Remains of the Day. And if you're looking for a science fiction book, a sort of sci-fi style book with similar themes, I think Never Let Me Go is a little better. By the way, another book that I read and then later realized that they made a movie, and I have yet to see the movie. So I don't think I did a full review of Never Let Me Go. But if I eventually watch the movie, I'll do a review of that. So that's it. I'm going to wrap this up because I think the video is almost done processing. But yeah, that's my feelings on Klara and the Sun.